Hey, it's HighTechDad, and I'm really excited today to have George Matus here, who has launched and founded a brand new drone company that's called Teal. So I would love to learn some more about the product, some of your background, and what inspired you to do something this crazy. Because one thing that viewers need to know is that you're how old? 18?
18 now. Yeah.
18. So that's fantastic. You've graduated high school and you've launched a company. So why don't you give me a little bit of background?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much for the call, Mike. I really appreciate it. So I'll just start off with a little bit about my background and the company and how this whole thing started. Um, when my family moved from San Diego to Salt Lake when I was about 11, there was this really big field behind our house. And I always imagined myself flying there. There was rarely anybody ever there, and it was just this open, vast field. So I'd go to Toys R Us, I'd get the little RC plane that didn't really work. But then I discovered that there's this whole hobby revolving around fixed-wing aircraft, single-rotor helicopters, all this amazing technology. I just instantly fell in love with it. I started flying a lot, crashing a lot, getting some planes and modifying them. And I just started building a lot, flying as much as I could every day. When I was 12, I became a test pilot for a drone company that started sending me a lot of their hardware and software before they launched. Learned a lot of my technical experience from there. And then it got to the point where I started building a few things from scratch. I built this one quadcopter that could fly up to an hour and a half. Could pick up to 2 pounds of payload, or excuse me, 15 pounds of payload. Another thrust vectoring multi-rotor that could fly over 100 miles an hour. And between that period and when I started building and racing and competing in some events and starting to go to hackathons, I essentially built this wish list of everything that I would want in a drone if I were ever to build my own. And so that was kind of the inspiration of this company and this product is, I've flown most of the products out there and most of the competitors and realized that for everything I want to do, I need a different drone. So one for aerial photography, one for racing, one for follow me. And so the idea was to build one drone that can do it all. And so the company started about 2 years ago. That's when I kicked it off. We raised our first pre-seed round of funding and it sort of went from there.
That's fantastic. So you started touching on some of the uniqueness about the Teal. I think there is a big trend moving towards more modular designs. I know there are cell phones now that you can get that you can snap in various components depending on what you want to do. And from what I understand, and when I went out to see the prototype, you were showing how you could swap in this part and add different types of sensors and things like that. Is that sort of the idea behind it?
Exactly. That's definitely one of the big goals with this product is to make it as versatile as possible for the hobbyist or the DIYer to make it their own. But at the same time, it's a fully integrated and refined product out of the box. It comes, standard with the built-in camera, the supercomputer. It's fully modular, like you said, so the arms just plug in and out, so they're easy to replace or upgrade if they break. I mentioned that I want this to be suitable for many different use cases instead of just one, and so I realized to be able to do that, some use cases require speed, some stability, some you need to be able to fly for a long time, and so to really accomplish all of those things with one platform, you need it to be modular and versatile like that. And so the idea was to make it extensible, but at the same time, like I mentioned, fully functioning and with high performance out of the box for any user. And so out of the box, it's actually the world's fastest production drone. There's DIY drones and drones that I've built that go faster, but this is the first one that's being offered to the mass market in this market that can go this fast. So it goes over 70 miles an hour out of the box. It withstands winds of up to 40 miles an hour. It's fully weatherproof, so it can fly in rain, snow, hail. And so that's one of the most exciting parts about it. And the modularity is definitely one of the big things about it as well. That was one of my goals from the beginning. And then, the last thing to really finish it off and provide it with all of this capability is the software platform that's built inside. So we've built this platform, like I mentioned, that it has an NVIDIA supercomputer built in. It's the NVIDIA TX1. It's an octa-core CPU. It has 256 CUDA GPU cores. And it can handle things like machine learning, artificial intelligence, image recognition, autonomous flight, all these amazing things in such a compact package. And so that's really what enables a lot of this programmability and capability for the future. And so that platform starts with that supercomputer. We've also integrated an inertial navigation system, which has a GPS receiver, barometer, magnetometer, accelerometer, and gyro combined into one chip. And it actually sends all of the data coming from those sensors in one stream and it gives us a lot better flight estimations and accuracies. It even gives us differential GPS and RTK GPS capability, which means we can take the accuracy down from about 6 feet to just a couple centimeters, give us rock solid performance in wind and different environments and for waypoint navigation. And so that's just something that gives us better flight performance. And then that same platform that's built in, so it has the supercomputer, the INS system, and then a lot of different connectors and peripherals and subsystems that basically keep the Teal future-proof, so that it's fully upgradable over time. You can plug in different sensors like thermal cameras, obstacle avoidance systems, you name it, and then program it to do what you want.
Yep.
And so all users need to fly Teal out of the box as their smartphone. It connects with Android or iOS through a smartphone or a tablet over Wi-Fi. We offer 3 apps out of the box to get the user started. The first is a command and control that lets people start flying. It has a beginner mode where users can hit takeoff. The drone will go up about 20 feet and generate a virtual bubble around itself so that you can learn how to fly and learn your controls and orientation without flying away and crashing. And then once you get good enough, you can just turn it off. That same app has waypoint navigation, geofencing, a lot of other features to get the user started with flying. The second app is a follow me mode where users can toss Teal up in the air. It'll follow them around based on image recognition that's done on board the supercomputer. And it can follow you or your bike or your car around at up to 70 miles an hour or over. And then the third app is a racing and gaming mode that lets people start and get their feet wet in gaming and racing. So it lets you log your flights and telemetry, be able to compete against other people virtually online. You can play challenges, win awards, rank up through the leaderboards. And it also integrates some augmented reality so that even if you're flying through a field or a parking lot, it looks like you're flying through different obstacles or things like that. So it makes it more lifelike. And then at the same time, even though we support smartphones and tablets out of the box just through Wi-Fi, we also support normal hobby transmitters. So it's really easy to plug in just a 2.4 receiver over PWM or PPM or DCM or DSM or S-Bus. Whatever the user likes to be able to fly with their transmitter if they're already hobbyists and they already have compatible equipment. We also support normal FPV equipment out of the box, so it's great for racing. And that just goes back to the modularity aspect. I wanted this to be perfect for the consumer who's never flown before and knows nothing about drones, all the way to the diehard racer and hobbyist who flies every day and wants to modify their drones and make them exactly how they want it.
Yeah, no, I think that's perfect. I'm sort of the guy that's starting on the early on side of the spectrum. I'm trying to evaluate to see what type of technology really works with the family, and the fact that this can grow with you and sort of gets older or not gets older, but has more features as you improve your own skill set. I think that's a really good thing to have with this type of a product. So, so I'm a father of 3. My oldest daughter is actually about your age. So, I'm always intrigued by, people who have done so much in their lives so early on. And I'd love to learn a little bit more about, your inspiration. Well, you talked about flying in the backyard and that type of thing, but what did you study in high school? Were there courses that in engineering that propelled you along, so to speak, to be able to achieve this?
Right. No, that's a great question. And, I mentioned that I started flying when I was about 11 and got into the hobby. But what taught me more about the mechanicals and building things from scratch was my robotics team in high school. So when I joined my freshman year, the school was just starting to build a robotics team. It was FIRST Robotics. This competition every year among high schools where teams need to build specific robots for different applications. And so that actually helped a lot with learning more about the building aspect and the design aspect of machines like this. So I'd say that helped a little bit. And then the other thing is that I just had, and I still do, I just have this incredible passion for flying and for aerial devices. I love, in my downtime, I just fly FPV. That's what I love to do when I have nothing else to do. And so it really started with that and wanting to fly every day and push the limits and build things that can push the boundaries of what's possible. So the one quadcopter that could fly up to an hour and a half, 2 hours, that was purely for endurance. I wanted to see how far I could push that. The thrust vectoring multi-rotor was just for speed. I wanted to see how fast I could build something and make it go. And so it was a combination of all of that and wanting to really push the limits and be able to offer something that has all this different and unique capability to to the world.
That's great. And I know you just got your driver's license. Any plans on getting a pilot's license so you can fly the real big things?
No, absolutely. I thought I might get my pilot's license before my driver's, but I was a little lame with that. I got a little bit late, but no, definitely would love to get my full scale pilot's license here soon and start flying for real. But FPV has been amazing because you can fly in such tight areas, and if you crash, you're fine. You don't hurt yourself. So you can push the boundaries and do all these amazing aerobatics and maneuvers, and it's just it gives you the freedom of flight without actually being in the air yourself.
Yep.
And so that's always been one of my big passions.
Great. So one more question. So what kind of words of advice do you have for other like high schoolers who are interested in this type of thing, or technology, STEM, that type of thing, or any other young entrepreneurs? What would you tell them that they should do?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great question. And I think for me, the biggest thing was that, I found my passion, and even though this is my full-time job now, it doesn't feel like work. It still feels like a hobby, and I love to do it every day. And so I would say, try to find your passion, what really motivates you and gets you excited, and then once you've done that, then other things will follow. I think that was the main thing for me.
Great. So where can people pre-order the Teal, find out more information? Where can they find you?
Yeah, we just launched, and our website is tealdrones.com. You can learn more about the technology there and the story and our idea behind this, and pre-order one from there as well.
Awesome. Well, George, thank you for the time and the great answers.
Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you.
Awesome.